Hello. I've made a tool. A tool I should have made about, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. Would have been a lot more helpful then. But it's still around anyway, still needed. Anyway, I'll show you what it is. I have made a square taper removal tool. I know what you're saying. They already exist. So this tool, the proper tool, screws into the threads of the crank, and occasionally it will pull the threads out and leave the crank in place, and then you've got no way to remove the crank. I have seen people using ball joint splitters, like the tuning fork style ones, which heavily damages the area usually, or heating it up and hitting it and using claw pullers and that kind of thing. Usually just results in damaging the crank, and you've either got to replace it or give the customer back a damaged crank. So I have made a tool. I have seen them before. Someone's beaten me to it, but I kind of popped it into my head about 20 years ago when we were removing a lot of square tapered cranks. But yeah, it takes me 20 years to get around to doing things. Very, very, very simple. I'm sure it has its flaws and there is a better design out there, but effectively it's a box section piece of steel, a nut welded in. I've used an M10 bolt, just kind of shaped the box section and then painted it in this horrible paint. So you would slide it over your crank, obviously when it's fitted to the bike and you can't get it off. The bolt then threads through, goes through the crank arm, rests against the square taper axle, and as you do it up, the force then will pop the crank arm off. The only damage really that would happen is some slight indentations, possibly on the edges here, just from the pressure. But I don't think it will be very much at all. But super simple design. As I say, I have seen them before. Someone's made one. Can't remember who. Someone on Instagram. So yeah, someone's always thought of something, haven't they? But yeah, super simple design. I think if you're a cycle workshop, that is it's probably pretty handy, to be honest. Thing that saves you blowtorch and crank arms and getting the hammer out and ball joint splitters and things like that. I'll get a bit serious, so that should help you out if you're a cycle workshop. Put a bit of time in to make one. I think it took me probably about 10 minutes. It took me longer to get the welder out and set it up than it did actually making the tool. So there we go. Anyway, food for thought.